project day. JD's bringing his motorcycle in. Hopefully we can finish this series.
The Honda CB750, one of the most beloved bikes that there's ever been. It's going to be a really fun build. Can't wait to get started. This is the world's first superbike. It's the Honda CB750. Well, to be honest, at least the 1969 and 1978 model years, they were famous for being fast, reliable, easy to work on, and extremely good looking. However, as far as good looking goes, not so much this one. This is a DOHC 1980 Honda CB750 Custom that seems to have been neglected for quite some time now. It made 77 horsepower and 50 foot-pounds of torque back then. Now, I believe those numbers have significantly dropped after 42 years. It does run, but it does not run that great, and the whole bike needs some love. CB750s are commonly used nowadays as cafe racer platforms for all of those same reasons. They're easy to work with, they're reliable, they're nice and cheap. This one cost me $1,500 for a running bike, which isn't that bad. And big point is there's a ton of different aftermarket parts out there for these, so they always make for a good build. All right, so it's finally day one. Teardown day for the old CB750 here. Super excited. We got this thing on the lift. We got everything ratcheted down, and we're about to dive into this thing. But before you do, a couple of things I want to talk about here. We have our factory service manual at the ready, so if we ever need to reference something to figure out what we're doing, that is nearby at hand. And also, you want to stay organized. In the back of the set, we have some bins back there. We have our label maker. We got some plastic bags. So as this thing comes apart, we can label everything, keep it all organized, and then when it goes back together again, we'll know exactly what we're working with. But first, we have to get it apart, so let's dive into this thing, get some of the accessories off, and see what we're working with. So when it comes to disassembly, the manuals are definitely helpful to have, but this is the easy part. You just start taking stuff off the bike. Now, this isn't intended to be a specific how-to for the CB750. We just want to show you a cool guide on how to do a cafe racer. So everything needed to come off, that's where we need to start. So if you've ever wrenched on a Japanese motorcycle before, you know about JIS screws because I'm sure, like I have at the beginning, you've stripped most of them out as well. But if you come around here and look at this screw, you'll see that right in this crux, we have a little dot right there. That's because this is a JIS screw right here. And I'm using a Phillips head screw because that's all we're working with in the shop today. But they are different. Phillips heads are designed to cam out. In the old American factories, you know, they didn't really trust the workers to get to the right torque spec. So as you put pressure on a Phillips head, it'll cam out. JIS is a little bit more, it's a little bit more advanced. They trusted their workers to hit the right torque specs, so they gave them screwdrivers that don't cam out. So when you're working on something like this, you want a JIS screwdriver if you plan on reusing that stuff. Thankfully, in our case, we can get away with the Phillips head and a little bit of a wrench on the base there to turn those and knock them loose. All right, guys, so we went ahead and put our bike back together a little bit. I don't know, probably not what you're expecting, but we got a little bit excited, a little bit ahead of ourselves here. At least I know I was super excited to start tearing into this thing, but we want to run a compression test Eastwood compression testing kit, everything you need, nice budget-friendly price tag too, highly recommend it. So we went ahead, put the fuel tank back on, battery back on, the exhaust back on, so we can get this up to operating temp, get the oil circulating in there, and make sure everything is sealing nice and good. So this is nice and warm to the touch. We're gonna go ahead and start pulling out our plug wires, plugs, and we'll run a compression test, see what we get. Hope it's healthy. All right, first thing you wanna do, make sure your engine is up to temp. Then you wanna label your spark plug wires. You can see Honda already did that for us. Number 1 right here. This one's number 2, 3 and 4 are on the other side. So no label, no tape. Also, before you pull the actual plug out, you wanna make sure the area is nice and clean, a little bit of compressed air around there to get any dirt and debris out of the way, and then we can pull these plugs out. So keep in mind, this is a 40-year-old bike at this point, and even though it is a super reliable Honda, and Honda's known for their reliability, I did expect to lose some compression here, hopefully not too much. So now we can put our compression tester together. I already know what threads we have here, so we are going to be working with this adapter. Just going to thread that onto our hose, and then get the gauge on the other side. All right, so we're gonna get this threaded in nice and snug. Then we're gonna hop up there, crank this over, and then we're going to peak this needle, crank for about 10-15 seconds. You'll know as soon as this needle stops moving, we'll have our reading. So let's see what we get. Reading on cylinder 1, not great, just a hair under 90. Factory spec should be 170 plus or minus 15, I believe, plus or minus 14, I think is the number. So not great. This is 41 years old, to be expected. Hopefully, the rest of the cylinders are all within the same range. Hopefully it'll be an easy fix, just freshen up the engine a little bit, some new rings. We're gonna consult with our in-house engine guys, figure out what's going on. But first, let's get the rest of these readings. All right. A little tough to get in there. Gonna take the tank off. Hose clamp pops right off. It was a little bit of access. Gonna be for the best. All right, cylinder 4 again, right in that 85-90 range. So looks like pretty standard across all 4 cylinders. What I want to do here is I have an idea how this is going to go with this engine, but I want to talk to some of our in-house engine guys, namely Scott and Cody. They work with this stuff a lot. They know what they're talking about, and I want to get their opinion on what I should do with this. But for now, I think we're pretty much good to continue on tearing this thing down and get this motor out of here. Quick break here, guys, because I want to give something away to you. As a thank you for watching, I'm giving away the 8-piece compression test kit that was used in this episode. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment on either this video or the second episode of the series and make it count because I'm picking the one that makes me laugh the hardest. Should be a fun comment section. Now let's get back to the episode. So this bike is coming apart super smooth, very, very easy to work with. I'm surprised. The back is looking fantastic so far. We're gonna move up to the front in just a second here. But before I do, speaking about how easy this is going, one thing that really helps is a motorcycle lift. Without one of these, I'd be hurting in the back right now, and with it, I just feel so much better. Our friends over at Tuxedo hooked us up with an Ideal M2200, and this thing is great. Even finished in a nice blue powder coat as well, which matches the Eastwood set here. You get a nice workspace. It's electric and hydraulic, so there's no air lines to run to this thing. It raises all the way up to 47 inches, and it goes pretty flat as well when you have it dropped all the way down. In the back there, you get a drop-away panel, which if you're doing chain maintenance, that makes that super easy. And up at the front, we have an optional moto vise here. That makes the front wheel really secure. This thing is on wheels too, so you can easily roll the whole thing around the shop. And that ramp at the back there, as you raise this up, it sort of retracts into the lift itself, which is really nice when you're walking around this thing. You're not gonna trip on the ramp. Definitely love that. Very nice touch. But speaking about how easy this thing is to work with, this bike has some more work to do up at the front, so I'm gonna dive right back into it. All right, so we have everything off of our bike. That brings us to this behemoth of an engine right here. We really want to get this out today, and we don't have an engine hoist on hand. We could wait a day and get one, but we really want to get this job done. So we're going to do it the true DIYer way. Now, what I've come up with here is a little bit different, let's say like that. What we're gonna do, I already designed one side of my plan right here. This is a 2x4 buck, and I'm just gonna give us something to lift off of right like that. That's gonna sit in that center of gravity right there. We're gonna drill a hole, we're gonna run a metal pole through that, get some tie downs, make sure everything is secure, and then we're gonna lift this engine out of here. Now, I wanna show you how I did that, and that was using one of these right here, an adjustable contour gauge. This comes in 5-inch, 10-inch, and you can even link them together into a large 15-inch size. And these are great to have around the shop. You've seen these done with crown molding, baseboards, that type of thing. Great for general design and just following a general contour. And it even has some magnets on the back, so if you're doing some metal work, this will stick on there and hold nice and tight. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna head over to the other side. I'll show you how this thing works. We're gonna contour that engine, copy it onto a piece of 2x4, cut everything to shape, and hopefully get this motor out. So all I'm gonna do here is move that into our engine like so. I'm just gonna give this a little help. You can see right there, just wanna make sure that all these little fins are following the contour that we have. That looks pretty good. We got a nice top, we got a nice bottom, we got a nice shape right here. A little bit of an angle I need to add in there, but very easy to see, very easy to do. Confident with that. Let's go back to the table and lay this thing out. Now, this wood mount idea did come from the internet, so I was a little bit skeptical of it, but it looked great. We put it under a little bit of a test run. We put it under a little bit of pressure, made sure it was gonna hold up strong when we put the full weight of the motor on there, but worked a treat. Shout out to the internet for that one. Definitely a handy little tip. Well, that's all you're gonna get for this one. I know, disassembly, not the most exciting thing in the world, but in the next couple episodes, we do have some really cool stuff coming up. You're definitely gonna wanna see custom fabrication stuff like the rear hoop, the electrical tray, the seat pan, the battery tray, all that is to come. You definitely wanna stay tuned. Leave us a comment down below if there's something you wanna see or if you have any tips for me. I definitely wanna know about it. And as always, we'll have all the tools that you saw in this episode linked below. Thanks for watching. I'm JD. Make sure you subscribe for more great videos like this one.